Hello people, this is Celtic Guardian again, and today I'm gonna do my new deck profile. It's deck profile of Lyrical Luscinia deck. This deck can get pretty annoying to your opponent, and it's maybe not as competitive as Raid Raptor deck, which I also done, but it can win. It can win with against big decks, and especially if they don't have cards that can get rid of your monsters off the field without targeting, and must. I will not say must, but many decks don't have those cards. So this deck is deck of Ruri Kurosaki from anime or Lolo Obsidian in the dub. It is a rank 1 Xyz deck, so in main deck you have your level 1 monsters which are easy to special summon, and your main monster is this one lady, a Lyrical Luscinia Assembly Nightingale. So you summon this card with as much as you can level 1 monsters, because it gains 200 attack points for each Xyz material, and it can attack your opponent directly as many times as Xyz materials it has. And during either player's turn you can touch one Xyz material from this card, and in that turn your Lyrical Luscinia monsters can't be destroyed. It's pretty good card, and it gets much better if you use Cobalt Sparrow, which I will talk about as Xyz material for Xyz summon. So my main deck have 21 monster cards. They are all level 1, of course, and main monsters are 3 copies of each of Lyrical Luscinias. Those are Turquoise Warbler, Cobalt Sparrow, and Sapphire Swallow. Each one has its unique effect, and they can go combination very good. But you have to draw 2 of them, so it can go in that case. But in any case, you have many searchers for them. You have your Where Art Thou, you have your Recite Darling, which is another Xyz rank 1 monster, which is also searcher, and you can get easy them to your hand. So let's start. First, Turquoise Warbler, Xyz monster that is summoned by this card, doesn't get any effect, and it's only Lyrical Luscinia that doesn't do that, but it's pretty good effects. It's your Cyber Dragon. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card, and when you do, special summon it from your hand. So you can special summon it in another ways from your hand. You can special summon one another Lyrical Luscinia from your hand or your graveyard. So it's pretty good. Another card is your Lyrical Luscinia Cobalt Sparrow. This card is main of those 3 Lyrical Luscinia level 1 monsters, because its effect that monster that is Xyz summoned using this card as Xyz material can be targeted by your opponent's card effects. So that practically means when you summon your Nightingale with using of Cobalt Sparrow, and you have, for example, 4 or 5 or 3 Xyz materials, it can't be destroyed because its effect, you touch one Xyz material and it can be destroyed, and it can't be targeted. So forget about 101, forget about Castell, forget about Infinity, forget about anything. It can be destroyed. Of course, they can go Trishula, they can go Mirror Force, but not classic one. They must go that which returns to hand or switch to face down defense position. But not many cards can get rid of your monsters and not destroying it either or targeting it. And because of that, this deck is pretty good. Another effect of your Cobalt Sparrow is that when it is special summoned, you search for your another level 1 Wing Beast type monster from your deck to your hand. It's also pretty good, and there are some 3 effects that you use to special summon this card. You use your Turquoise Warbler, you use your Sapphire Swallow, and you use your 1/1 spell card. And third Lyrical Luscinia you use is your Sapphire Swallow. It's also very good. If you control Wing Beast type monster, you special summon this card and one another level 1 Wing Beast type monster. So you go for your another level 1 Lyrical Luscinia in your hand, and that can be another Sapphire Swallow or another Lyrical Luscinia, Warbler or Sparrow, anyone. It's of course better if it is another one. Each of this effect of course you use once per turn, so you can go forever. But you, for example, special summon your Cobalt Sparrow, then add to your hand another Swallow from your deck, then go for Side Darling and then make again. Then you add and you can special summon it next turn and then go with Circle, and that is very good, very consistent deck. That is it for Lyrical Luscinias. Another level 1 monsters are Evil Torn. This card is very good in this deck. It gets cloggy if you draw more than one of those in your first turn, but in most cases you don't. Then you normal summon this guy and tribute it special summon to another from your deck. You deal 300 points of damage to your opponent. It's of course not main effect. Main effect you have 2 level 1 monsters and you shorten your deck for 2 cards. Very consistent. And then you go for your Reside Darling, and then you search for your Lyrical Luscinias. Pretty good card. Of course, if you don't draw more than one of it. Further we go, we have 2 copies of your King Abiel, your Monster Reborn. So when you have your level 1 monsters in your graveyard, you normal summon this guy and special summon from your graveyard another one. Then you go for your rank 1 Lyrical Luscinia Reside Darling. You don't go for Nightingale if you have just 2 level 1 monsters. You go for it with at least 3, but in most cases with 4, and if you are lucky with 5. So King Abiel, 2 copies of it. And 2 copies also of Windwitch Snowbell, another new card. It is used by Synchro counterpart of Ruri Kurosaki, and it's a tuner, but of course you don't go for synchros in this deck. You use it to XE summon. It can be special summoned if you control 2 or more wind monsters. Not too hard condition, because your main monsters are wind, and in most cases you have at least 2 of them on your field. Also 2 copies of DD Lamia. So this card in combination with your Dark Contract with Gate makes this deck even more consistent, because you go for your Gate, then you search Lamia, then you special summon it, and very good level 1 monster is on the field. And what is also very good is that you don't use Lamia for synchro material, you use it for Xyz material, so it doesn't get banished when it's detached. And you can go for your another Gate, and again special summon Lamia from your graveyard, and again go for your Xyz place. Very good. And final monster is Jester Confit. No conditions, you can special summon this card in attack position, and then you go for your synchro place. Very good. It's in most cases you don't have time for it to go back to your hand. You use its effect to special summon it, and you go for your rank 1 place. That's 21 monster card. Next we go for our spells. There is 1 for 1. Of course, very good card. Very good in combination with your Lyrical Luscinia. Special summon your Cobalt Sparrow. Then you search for Sapphire Swallow or Turquoise or another Cobalt Sparrow. What do you need? And it's pretty easy then for you to go for your Xyz place. I didn't mention that Xyz effect that Xyz monster gains if you used your Sapphire Swallow is you can attach one Lyrical Luscinia from your graveyard to your Xyz monster, and it is really very good. So with your Nightingale you can have your 6 Xyz materials if you used 5 monsters, and you have Lyrical Luscinia in your graveyard, and that's 1200 attack points with 6 attacks. That's 7200 life points of damage to your opponent. It's amazing. Of course, you will not have many chances for doing that, but sometimes you can, of course. Our other spell cards are Wearer 2, 3 copies of it, your Searcher. In most cases you take those 2000 points of damage, but it works. You need your Lyrical Luscinia, you need your another level 1 monsters, and when you summon your Nightingale with 3 or more Xyz materials and Cobalt Sparrow, your opponent can get that easily rid of them. So 3 copies of Wearer 2, 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Your Instant Fusion target is 1000 dice restrict. This card, it's amazing. It's very good that it gets off the ban lists, and you can use its effect before you go for your Xyz plays. Get rid of one of your opponent's monsters, and then you go for your Xyz plays. Very good. 1 copy of Soul Charge. Of course, this is amazing if your field is empty and you have 5 level 1 monsters in your graveyard. Yes, you paid 5000 points of damage, but you go for your Nightingale with 5 Xyz materials, and you deal that 5000 points of damage to your opponent too. But in most cases you don't use it for 5 monsters, you use for 1 or 2 or 3, doesn't matter, but this card is very good in this deck. Next we go United We Stand. It's amazing in this deck because your Nightingale can attack your opponent's life points directly many times, and with those at least 800 points for attack of bonus, and maybe 1600, maybe 2400. It's amazing. So 2 copies of United we stand. 3 copies of Dark Contract with the Gate. This card makes this deck even more consistent. As I said, you search for your Lamia, you special summon your Lamia by sending this card to the graveyard. Then you go for your Exceed plays. Very good. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, so you can send to your graveyard your Lamia or your another Lyrical Luscinia monster, and then special summon it with effect of Warbler, or attach it as Xyz material with Xyz effect that Xyz monster gains by using Sapphire Swallow. Not too good in this deck, Foolish Burial, but it can go. That's our 16 spell cards, and there are also 5 traps. One of them is our Soul Strike, and there are 2 copies of Harpes Featherstorm and Icarus Attack. Harpes Featherstorm is very good in this deck. You control your Wind Wing Beast type monster, and you get negate any monster effect your opponent activates this turn. So amazing card, really. And then, of course, 2 copies of Icarus Attack. Yes, your Reside Starling is not useful when it doesn't have any Xyz material, and you can tribute it, destroy 2 cards on field, then you use Sapphire Swallow as Xyz material for the next monster, and you attach your tributed Reside Starling as Xyz material. Very good combo. And I used 2 copies of it. You can also run 1, and for example odd, I don't know, maybe United we stand, maybe Lamia, maybe something else, but I ran 2 copies of Icarus. Then we go for our extra deck. We really don't need our 15 cards. I run 12, but I really think that it's enough for 9, but you can go whatever you like, but those 9 are main. Nightingale 3 copies, Reside Starling 3 copies, 1000 Dice Restricted 3 copies. And you see why. As I explained, Nightingale, you detach Xyz material, it can't be destroyed, then you attack your opponent's life points directly up to number the discard have Xyz materials. Pretty good. Main monster, as I said, if you use Cobble Sparrow, your opponent can't get rid of it that easy. It's hard, to be honest. Then you go your 3 copies of Reside Starling. This card is your Searcher. This card can be used also as a troll, because any battle damage you take from attacks involving this Xyz summoned card is also inflicted to your opponent. So, for example, your opponent plays defense position monster which have strong defense, you go attack it, you take damage but your opponent does too, and then you finish them with your Nightingale, which has 4 or 5 Xyz materials. It's good, but you can also go for draws with this card. really good card. As I said, it's your main target for Icarus Attack, and it's very good. Another Xyz monsters I added to my extra decks, but I really never summoned, are number 54 Lionheart and Galaxy Queen, but I really never summoned any of those monsters. You can add another rank 1 Xyz monsters, but I think you will never summon them. I use those eventually if something extraordinary happens, but I don't think I will ever use Lionheart or Galaxy Queen. And then of course my fusion, instant fusion targets, my 3000 dice restricts, pretty good in this deck. You get rid one of your opponent's monsters and you go for your Xyz, plays pretty good, and that's it. Really, guys, thank you for watching. Leave your comments in comment section below, and if you have any questions, ask them. I think you can really run this deck and make your opponent annoyed. It really is funny, and it really can win against big decks. See you next time, and love you guys.